Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The head of an organized crime family. Teacher at a university or college, especially at Cambridge or Oxford. Put clothing on one's body. The princess donned a long blue dress. A European river in southwestern Russia flows into the Sea of Azov. A Spanish courtesy title or form of address for men that is prefixed to the forename. A Spanish gentleman or nobleman. Celtic goddess. Mother of Gwydion and Arianrhod, corresponds to Irish Danu. Father is a term of address for priests in some churches, especially the Roman Catholic Church or the Orthodox Catholic Church. Padre is frequently used in the military. A male parent, also used as a term of address to your father. His father was born in Atlanta. Christianity. Any of about 70 theologians in the period from the 2nd to the 7th century whose writing established and confirmed official church doctrine. In the Roman Catholic Church, some were later declared saints and became doctor of the Church. The best-known Latin Church fathers are Ambrose, Augustine, Gregory the Great, and Jerome. Those who wrote in Greek include Athanasius, Basil, Gregory Nazianzen, and John Chrysostom. The founder of a family. Keep the faith of our forefathers. Make offspring by reproduction. John fathered 4 daughters. The head of an organized crime family. God when considered as the first person in the Trinity. A person who founds or establishes some institution. George Washington is the father of his country. A person who holds an important or distinguished position in some organization. The tennis fathers ruled in her favor. Teacher at a university or college, especially at Cambridge or Oxford. Make a pretense of. She assumed indifference, even though she was seething with anger. Put clothing on one's body. The queen assumed the stately robes. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. Seize and take control without authority and possibly with force, take as one's right or possession. He assumed to himself the right to fill all positions in the town. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. She assumed strange manners. Take on titles, offices, duties, responsibilities. When will the new president assume office? Occupy or take on. He assumes the lotus position. Take to be the case or to be true, except without verification or proof. I assume his train was late. Take up someone's soul into heaven. This is the day when Mary was assumed into heaven. To come or go into. Put clothing on one's body. Secure a place in a college, university, etc. Get involved in or with. Familiarize oneself thoroughly with. Fool or hoax. Adopted in order to deceive. Put clothing on one's body. He put on his best suit for the wedding. Apply to a surface. Carry out performances. Increase one's body weight. Prepare and supply with the necessary equipment for execution or performance. Add to something existing. She put on a sunroom. Add to the odometer. He put on 1,000 miles on this trip. Put on the stove or ready for cooking. Put on the tea, please. Exhaust or get tired through overuse or great strain or stress. Be dressed in. She was wearing yellow that day. The act of having on your person as a covering or adornment. She bought it for everyday wear. Have on one's person. Go to pieces. Put clothing on one's body. What should I wear today? A covering designed to be worn on a person's body. Deteriorate through use or stress. Last and be usable. Have in one's aspect. Wear an expression of one's attitude or personality. He always wears a smile. Have or show an appearance of. Wear one's hair in a certain way. Impairment resulting from long use. The tires showed uneven wear. A European river in southwestern Russia flows into the Sea of Azov. A person who is in charge. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body or the front part of the body in animals contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that jets out into the sea. Grammar, the word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical. A toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. A person who is in charge. The head of a tribe or clan. A person who exercises control over workers. Most important element. The chief aim of living. A person whose occupation is teaching. A personified abstraction that teaches. Books were his teachers. A person whose occupation is teaching. Put on clothes. Cultivate, tend, and cut back the growth of. Dress the plants in the garden. Suitable for formal occasions. A full dress uniform. Kill and prepare for market or consumption. Dress a turkey. A one-piece garment for a woman, has skirt and bodice. Of an occasion, requiring formal clothes. A dress dinner. Put on clothes. We had to dress quickly. Decorate, food, as with parsley or other ornamental foods. Clothing in general. Fastidious about his dress. Provide with clothes or put clothes on. Parents must feed and dress their child. Arrange in ranks. Dress troops. Dress or groom with elaborate care. She likes to dress when going to the opera. Provide with decoration. Dress the windows. Give a neat appearance to. Dress the horses. Dress in a certain manner. She dresses in the latest Paris fashion. Arrange attractively. Dress my hair for the wedding. Clothing of a distinctive style or for a particular occasion. Battle dress. Apply a bandage or medication to. Dress the victim's wounds. Convert into leather. Dress the tanned skins. Cut down rough-hewn lumber to standard thickness and width. Put a dressing on. Dress the salads. Put a finish on. Dress the surface smooth. A heading that names a statute or legislative bill may give a brief summary of the matters it deals with. Designate by an identifying term. A legal document signed and sealed and delivered to effect a transfer of property and to show the legal right to possess it. He kept the title to his car in the glove compartment. The status of being a champion. He held the title for 2 years. An identifying appellation signifying status or function, e.g., Mr. or General. The professor didn't like his friends to use his formal title. An established or recognized right. He had no documents confirming his title to his father's estate. An informal right to something. His title to fame. Give a title to. A general or descriptive heading for a section of a written work. The novel had chapter titles. An appellation signifying nobility. Your Majesty is the appropriate title to use in addressing a king. The name of a work of art or literary composition, etc. He looked for books with the word jazz in the title. Usually plural, written material introduced into a movie or TV show to give credits or represent dialogue or explain an action. The titles go by faster than I can read. An identifying appellation signifying status or function, e.g., Mr. or General. An identifying appellation signifying status or function, e.g., Mr. or General. A manservant who acts as a personal attendant to his employer. A man of refinement. A joint made by notching the ends of 2 pieces of timber or metal so that they will lock together end to end. A garment worn around the head or neck or shoulders for warmth or decoration. Masturbate while strangling oneself. Unite by a scarf joint. Wrap in or adorn with a scarf. Put on with ease or speed. Slip on one's shoes. Put on a garment in order to see whether it fits and looks nice. Headdress that protects the head from bad weather, has shaped crown and usually a brim. An informal term for a person's role. He took off his politician's hat and talked frankly. Furnish with a hat. Put on or wear a hat. He was unsuitably hatted. Melt, fat or lard, in order to separate out impurities. Try the yak butter. Test the limits of. You are trying my patience. Make an effort or attempt. Take a sample of. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Put on a garment in order to see whether it fits and looks nice. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. She gave it a good try. Examine or hear evidence or a case by judicial process. Give pain or trouble to. A federation in northeastern Europe and northern Asia, formerly Soviet Russia, since 1991 an independent state. A former communist country in Eastern Europe and northern Asia, established in 1922, included Russia and 14 other Soviet socialist republics, Ukraine and Byelorussia and others, officially dissolved 31 December 1991. Formerly the largest Soviet Socialist Republic in the USSR occupying Eastern Europe and Northern Asia. A federation in northeastern Europe and northern Asia, formerly Soviet Russia, since 1991 an independent state. A former empire in Eastern Europe and northern Asia created in the 14th century with Moscow as the capital. Powerful in the 17th and 18th centuries under Peter the Great and Catherine the Great when St. Petersburg was the capital. Overthrown by revolution in 1917. The people of Spain. The Romance language spoken in most of Spain and the countries colonized by Spain. Of or relating to or characteristic of Spain or the people of Spain. A monarchy in northwestern Europe occupying most of the British Isles, divided into England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is often used loosely to refer to the United Kingdom. An island comprising England and Scotland and Wales. A monarchy in northwestern Europe occupying most of the British Isles, divided into England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is often used loosely to refer to the United Kingdom. A monarchy in northwestern Europe occupying most of the British Isles, divided into England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is often used loosely to refer to the United Kingdom. A monarchy in northwestern Europe occupying most of the British Isles, divided into England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is often used loosely to refer to the United Kingdom.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.